Germany in 1946. We don't know, World War II ended in 1945, and living in Germany right after World War II was straight up not a good time. The country's cities and infrastructure essentially was developed during World War II, and the entire country was going through a humongous economic depression to the point that people were doing the whole stereotypical wheelbarrow full of money to buy a loaf of bread. Okay, we're not going to come down and try to take the thousands of all the Carl and Theo that are playing entrepreneur on hard formula. And obviously they do a good job at it because all of these humongous chain of grocery stores today. So however, these two brothers launched a successful chain of grocery stores in Germany in 1946. They kept it simple. They were really worried. They wanted to make money. They knew that not everybody had a lot of money to spare, so they sell everything cheap. They don't do that. They said, we're not going to have 10 different and every kind of product. We're just going to have one of everything. Like instead of having 15 different types of peanut butter, we just have one type of peanut butter. And that's how they got their products to be cheap by focusing their buying power. Now, that's the simple part. Where the true genius comes out is that they realized that they were spending a lot of time per customer, so they had to maximize the amount of customers that they have. In order for that to happen, they realized that they need customers to get it, get their shit, get out, so more customers can come in. So they jerkily engineered this entire grocery store to streamline the entire shopping experience and make it as fast as humanly possible. And oh boy did that work, because the first 10 years they went from one grocery store to 300 grocery stores. That's 200 other brother added to as opposed to it. So they decided to split their massive business completely in half. They're going to have all these north and all these south. They just drew a line across Germany, said all these grocery stores are mine, all of them down there are yours. Yeah, capitalism, communism is splitting Germany east to west, all these is splitting it north to south. But here's the thing, the brothers didn't have a falling out. They still work together, they still want the other brother to succeed. So they would come together, and they would come together to make offers of manufacturing together. So yeah, all these work, all these stuff, cigarettes and the stuff. Now, you can't have two grocery stores with the same exact name with slightly different logo. So in America, we have Aldi, and we have Trader Joe's. What we call this Aldi, they kept it cheap and fast along the way. Something that no other grocery store in America has managed to do. Not only did they not manage to do it, they intentionally did the opposite. Pretty much every other grocery store on the planet has figured out that time equals money. The more time you spend in their store is the more money they can get out. Okay, I know that you've been in this gigantic grocery store, but I'm going to go ahead and break it down for you anyways. Okay, you walk in the door, congratulations, you just entered capitalism with easy thunder. Because everything in this room is pretty much designed to hurt you. Congratulations. The book is all the way across the store and they call it back over. And they stuck it in on purpose. Now you need it, and now you have to walk past every fucking aisle in the store to get it. And pretty much every single aisle there is full of products where they have hired a psychologist to design boxes in pretty colors to trigger your user brain to be like, oh my god, I have to have it. They're trying to get you to buy as much shit as humanly possible on your way to get milk, bread, and eggs. I don't know what you're thinking. All those fancy marketing tactics don't work on me. Maybe, but hear me out. Next time you're there, just do some people watching. You're going to notice that a portion of the population, their brain can't handle going to a modern grocery store. They turn into zombies. They're pushing the cart, feeling side to side. They can't even keep it straight. Over heads turning to look all different pretty colors. There's people straight up just standing still at a wall of cereal like as their brain desperately tries to calculate and process all this information regarding what type of Cheerios they need. There's people standing there with two different types of ranch in each can, probably made from the same exact factory with the same exact ingredients, but they have different labels on them from different companies, and they don't know which one is the lowest eaters from Greek mythology. They go there for one thing and stuff them all the time. It's perfect for them. This is why every other grocery store in America isn't just a grocery store. They also have a coffee shop, a little restaurant, and a florist, and a pharmacy, and a bank that you can cash your check. They're trying to get any excuse to get you to come into their store for a second, because they know once you set foot in there, you're going to be in there for at least an hour stood in line that says I found all the shit I needed, but they're gonna go ahead and rub it in your face because they didn't forever figure out it's it doesn't go back to the company, they're talking to the cashier themselves, they're just doing their job, they're doing what they're told to do. The CEO of the company, on the other hand, is laughing his ass off at you. I was a cashier at the grocery store for 5 years, and 5 years, 0 people said they didn't find everything they were looking for. Okay, the entire question is just the fucking. If this is a portion where you're just going to they're not hardest information as possible. It's going to be like, oh, you have our little super duper saver card where you spend $800 in groceries and we give you like 12 cents off the gallon of gas. And you're like, no, no, I don't. Oh, did you want one? No, no, I don't. Because I know for a fact that as soon as I give you my name, my email address, my address, and my phone number, you're going to turn around and sell it to a data broker, and then I'm going to have robots calling my phone for the next 10 fucking years because that's exactly why they asked for that information, so they can turn around and sell it. Because there's a total of 0 gigantic superstores that are taking away shipping rates. Okay, that's because you're the product. And then because you get the audacity, I don't know, they're going to shame more money out of you. They're going to hit you with the old, did you want to learn their total up to date for puppies with maggots in their eyes? Really? You're going to hit them with that as a full line of people behind me? For real? Every time you know, you're going to have a dive, you donate to orphanage. Also, by the way, fine, hey, I'll take the money, whatever. Just give me my groceries, I have to go. Okay, so that's the average grocery store. But Aldi's, on the other hand, is a goddamn masterpiece, okay? Can German engineering win a world war? Absolutely not. Holy fuck, get it built a grocery store. Because immediately, upon approaching Aldi's, you're going to be, oh, all the carts are outside. That's fine, I'm going to go grab one. And as you're walking towards the cart, you see a notice for hiring banner across the store, and it says that they pay all their employees anywhere between $18.50 and $25 an hour starting rate. So now you're already kind of feeling good because, hey, this company takes care of their employees. Then you can shopping carts and you're like, oh shit, you actually have to take a quarter, stick it in this little slot, and unlock it from all the other carts. And at first you're like, oh, that's a really clever idea. Because now people are going to put their cart back so they can keep their quarter. That's what they don't have to do labor by not all day long. And that's true. One of the other parts that we're not talking about is actually yes, you see, because if you're not fucking smart enough to quarter, guess what? You can't really shop here. And that doesn't sound like a big deal, but I'm telling you right now, it's a huge deal. Because as soon as you step into Aldi's, you're going to notice a distinct lack of motherfuckers in the way. Everybody in there is there to get their shit and get out because they have stuff to do. Speaking of which, as soon as you walk into the store, there's like grand opening area where you can like walk down all the other aisles and like weave in and out and do all this bullshit. You walk in, you're in aisle 1. You have to turn left. There's only one way to go. Now all of the traffic is looking the same fucking direction. It's engineered to perfection. You walk in the door, you go down aisle 1, go down aisle 2, go down aisle 3, go down aisle 4, and then there's a checkout. There's literally 4 aisles in all of this. It's perfect. All of these stores decided to add to the store. They only stocks about 1,600 items, and your average grocery store stocks over 30,000 items. And at first you're like, well, that doesn't sound very good. But no, it's actually perfect because guess what? You need Cheerios. They've got Cheerios. So there's only one kind of Cheerios. You don't have to just stand in the middle of the aisle, flying in traffic, grab your Cheerios and keep it moving. Look, sure, like 90% of the time it's the same exact product with the same package with the different costs. And Aldi knows that, and they went out and they improve it. And to prove it, they went to the biggest brands on the planet wanted to, get off their face and wanted to be able to tell how wet or how dry it was the year that those grapes were harvested. Yeah, all you have to do is $5 bottle of wine.
Eligible Belgian lessons give us no guarantees and is transferred for Paula and C4 lunch for around $4.29 per month. Pre-order Fall Fishing in the Hunters vs. Hunted Operator Pack, the Mastercraft Upper Collection, the Season 1 Lifestyle Bundle, and more.
So now it's time to check out. Get to the checkout lane. Everything looks completely normal. It's like every other checkout lane in every other grocery store you've ever been to, except for it's not. This is not your normal cashier. This is like the fastest cashier. This is the fastest person at bringing your groceries you've ever met in your entire life. He's going to get your groceries up a little conveyor belt. He's going to acknowledge that you're obsessed, like, how's it going? And then you're going to say good, and then you're going to look down and all your groceries are already back in your cart. And that's when you're going to be like, oh shit, what is happening right now? You're going to realize that he's not standing up like every other grocery store planner. He's sitting down in the chair. You're going to be like, that's kind of cool. And then in the back of your head, you're going to be like, wait a minute, why did the grocery store that I worked at for 5 years old in high school make me stand up for absolutely no reason? ID, give me an answer. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, because sitting down doesn't look professional, okay? Listen to me. That's fucking dumb. Just because you're making money at work doesn't mean you can physically uncomfortable for no fucking reason, okay? Then you're going to go to your grocery store and you're like, oh shit, every single box or every single product has like 5 barcodes on it. That way the cashier doesn't have to search around for a barcode. He can just kind of shit across the list every time. That's how he managed to bring your groceries up and see his life. And then the cashier's going to give you your total, and it's literally like half of what you expected it's going to be, because apparently the front door of all these map control that takes you into the past where groceries used to be cheap. So every time you come to the groceries, walk off to the side, there's a huge counter with a bunch of boxes. Put your groceries in the boxes, put them in your cart, take the shit out of your cart, and you're done. You look at the entire store, you look through every aisle, and got to the checkout. It's literally less than 10 minutes. It's amazing. So yeah, that's all this entire deal. Be fast and be cheap, and it works out amazing. You're the only grocery store in your country that I'm aware of that is just becoming to be a grocery store. What do? They sell groceries. They don't have a pharmacist. They don't have a florist. They don't have a bank where you can cash your check. They don't have a service counter, and you can't call them. They don't take phone calls from the public. You can go on their website and they straight up tell you, yeah, we don't take phone calls from the public because our employees' time is too valuable because they're busy selling groceries. And a lot of people probably think that that's horrible customer service, and maybe they're right. But what you're not considering is a lot of people don't always want good customer service, okay? Me, personally, I don't want to be Nick. I don't want to be an individual who needs to be treated special when I'm in the grocery store. I just want to be treated like an employee and through this process as fast as humanly possible so I get back to doing stuff that I actually care about. And I think a lot of other people feel the exact same way. And I know that because Aldi has been the fastest growing grocery store in the country for years now. And we're to the food institute, they're the number one grocery store according to consumers. And you want to know who's number 2? Trader Joe's, which is also Aldi. They are in first and second place. They're quite literally just competing with themselves for number 1. And I'm pretty sure it's because they're the only ones that are just trying to be a grocery store. As it turns out, when you only care about doing one thing, you end up being pretty good at it. And I think that's a big takeaway from this case study. All these key successes, they figured out the one thing they wanted to do, and then they figured out how to do it fast, cheap, and still deliver a good product, and everything else just works out. Meanwhile, all the other grocery stores were too worried about competing with Walmart, and now they're not even really grocery stores anymore. They're just Walmart knockoffs that don't sell video games. So then you should have a lot of the grocery store in the other country you want me to talk about next. Let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. That's Rich from the channel for Wrestling Learning. Battle.com. Quack bang out. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I think this entire video is a big joke. Nuts!
I've debated doing this when I was pinned down by a sniper in Afghanistan, but there's no way that any sniper will get that. My name is Nicholas Irving. I'm a former U.S. Army Ranger Special Operations Sniper. I'm Command Sergeant Major retired. I'm Nicholas Ford. My name is Tyler Phillips. Hey everyone, Jay Lee here. Hi, I'm John Spencer. John Spencer. I'm a corporal on this commando. Today I'm back again to look at some more sniper scenes from TV and film. Great to hang out with urban warfare. Boot camp scenes, the helicopter rescue scenes, bomb disposal scenes in movies and TV, and U.S. military. No one's asked every question with, yes, drill sergeant. Standard for responding to a drill sergeant here in
yes drill sergeant, no drill sergeant, and if it has to have an affirmative response, then the whole platoon will sound just like that. The drill sergeant is incredible because, in the early part of training, it's a challenge for somebody who perhaps has not handled a weapon before, what we would call weapons training, to be able to take that weapon apart, put it back together, which what you saw Florida did, that function check, which you're hoping is that the PI and the drill sergeant is that everybody in there can do it like Florida.
Shrimp and training, shrimp version.
When the Indians with the recruit structure, that's something of the past few times where, we get the recruit civilians, go back to grass, they foster this environment of working together as a team. And so with the weapons training, what I call mindless repetition, just do it over and over and over again until you get it right. That has the same training effect that basically has the approach that the drill sergeant had is very, very common for that time period in the Vietnam War. So that's about a nine. Look at obstacle courses usually in boot camp. You'll go twice. Obstacle courses is really designed to find your upper body strength and also determine your endurance. So it may test your fear of heights, fear of darkness, and then you have to experience teamwork with each other. You saw that a couple of times in there, and definitely that you yell also called it simulating the battlefield condition.
Hello, this is Rabbit Hole. Rabbit comes out of his hole.
What is interesting is roads not talking about basic training. It is the training. You're actually testing the amount of trade. Things change over time. There's certain requirements that leaders think that we need to respond to in basic training.
This will be your lock. Repeat. Lock. Command. Don't be fighting number two.
That's one of those things again that you get from TV in Hollywood where you place all of this level of intimacy with our weapon. Now, granted, it is an intimate relationship because you really want to be confident with that weapon. So taking this apart, putting it together, almost to the point where you do it blindfolded, right? Talk about it in a way that might be sexual. That's kind of a Hollywood thing that happens.
I'm sorry. I can't touch the gun.
For that time period in World War II, being a comprehensive objective will definitely be a challenge for the leadership. This guy particularly is Desmond Doss. He's actually a Medal of Honor recipient. He didn't have to carry a weapon to do it. I would definitely say this was a nine, realistic. It's unfortunate. What we wind up running into a lot of times is drill sergeants or PIs like this in that will touch and grab by the throat like a million other PIs movies. Touching this and is training unacceptable. Always has been. That's exactly why right there, the open door that I can use even more than turning and slamming the kid head into the wall. And that's why it's waiting for all the line.
Baseball moves. It hurts.
Baseball is something it's pretty painful. That guy is going to learn a valuable lesson not to put himself in a window if he's really engaged. So that's why baseball simulation is kind of what we call it. Very, very useful in the training environment.
This is what you want. You know this is happening.
That's a trainer, sergeant, his worst nightmare is to have somebody in training lose their life, shooting them rounds over their head. We actually 26th Parachute Infantry Regiment out of the 101st Airborne. This right here is going to be in their preparation for World War II. During that time period of our military, not many people were married, right? And everybody was always looking for a 2-day or 3-day pass. Stuff that they expected on, like this parade level stuff. And out in combat gear, I can see where he's going at. He's trying to instill discipline, just show morale and not be too high much longer. Ran this mountain a couple of times, said, Curry Mountain. It's no joke. What I know the kid was, that guy not even our comrade, part of the war, so it never quit. So I had today's modern military, thank you so much for not doing something. That would be a 10 for running up that hill. World War II probably be about an 8 in realism. You get them in the barber chair, spin them around, they had no hair. Like that even was like a military cadence sometimes. The nails, anyway, are getting their hair cut, where they cut it all the way down. Female recruits are not required, and believe it or not, it's help with hygiene, right? Because you get people that come from all walks of life, so you don't know necessarily if they have headlights or any other type of issues underneath all of this. And she got about 100 shots. Just get shot. Get all these killing in with completely inoculated against every disease known to man, right? The difference that I've seen so far in this scene is they have them all taking the whole rope like in an open room or an open bay. It wouldn't be done that way after what they call military entrance process station. For them that all military people go to there, and it's real fun. It's just a staff of military personnel, administrators, doctors, counselors, because what they're doing is they're determining whether or not you're fit. I remember the first time I did that, I was like, what in the world? They have to walk from one side of the room to the other, and the doctor is looking for your bone structure, your musculoskeletal development, your flat-footed, also just your mobility and agility, like that. You definitely like that for other people to be hard to assess. I would have to say it's about a tool, right? But that's not necessarily how that whole indoctrination process would happen in the drill sergeant.
Tonight, Richard Frank, you will be a weapon. You will be a minister of death, praying for war.
So far, the DI, the Marine Corps, they actually have a script. Sit up straight and look at me. So, the difference in the title, drill instructor, tied into the Marine Corps, drill sergeants became into play for the Army, and their interaction with the first part of the family is always going to be what we call focus control. Everywhere you look at some DI, drill sergeant, insurance, that the training that is given is being reinforced. So when you see our Army walking around in the bay, he's doing exactly what the DI was doing. He actually was a drill sergeant, as a matter of fact. He served several years during the Vietnam War as a DI.
I can understand that. Oh, can't hear you.
We know that the DI is constantly yelling. It's not because they like yelling at individuals, it's just that they don't have to repeat the same commands over and over. So if you have a recruit on one end of the bay, he or she is going to hear the instructions all the way on the other end of the bay.
I didn't know they stuck that high. Trying to squeeze an inch in on me somewhere.
Another thing that you often see in these TV shows is the DI are a lot of cursing and swearing. Cursing and swearing is not something that is acceptable, but it does happen. For that Vietnam era, now you have people who are decide to serve their country, and it's a difference between upper class and change called shock and awe, commonly called or shock attack. I don't know if it's about break them down and build them up and focus on the people. So that's what they want to
recipe also contains black beans, scallions, tomatoes, chili peppers, and peppers, which are all lovely. This is one of those recipes where you can also add some things like carrots or celery, and it really doesn't change the recipe very much. So go ahead and add the things that you like to make it fun. Remember that everything you eat and drink over time matters. Make every bite count by biting a couple eats out and making it for a long time. The right things to help you healthier now and in the future. Now, before we get into this recipe, as from a day of self practice, if you did get a chance to see that video, you don't have to pay off to the gaming Facebook page or to pay off to the YouTube channel. If you did subscribe to the channel, make sure that you like and subscribe. Click on the notification bell to get a notification every time new video is posted. So don't miss out on new content and click that bell icon. So let's make today Thanksgiving waffle taco salad. Remember that you can find this recipe in the waffle at Snap It on our website at www.snapit.com. Remember to wash your hands with soap for 20 seconds or use the alcohol-based hand sanitizer before you start cooking. Let's look at the ingredients for this recipe. For this recipe, you're going to need a cup of pumpkin quinoa. Here is 1.5 cups of water. I have 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil. This is 3 teaspoons of orange juice. And you can squeeze the juice fresh from the lime or you can use like from the bottle and that's what I have here. I have 1/4 teaspoon of cumin and 1/4 teaspoon of fresh coriander. Here is 2 tablespoons of chopped cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, you can use parsley instead. Here I have fresh cilantro, you can use try also. Here I have 2 scallions that
armed individuals, and even during my own board, if they tap into the case, then the gateway, hard work gateway, we got every bang back with prosecution at the same time. However, in the Army, they what we call the advanced business training, which those periods of training from 6 weeks to 6 months, really several people. While you can use these old things, you know, to have a longer period of training, but not like shooting, moving, engage, treating yourself and others balance. I have to say,
Representative Adam, you must stay attracted to the emergency field hospital.
there's a lot going on here so far. When it started out, it definitely was something that you would see in crew training. You know, a lot of, good down, positions of senior leadership. But something that hadn't occurred over many years in the military that started really opening up the by the coach. So he was training one of those ways that offense is still really big. I would say it's about a 7. Pretty low. I'm looking for it's a lot of one thing that
public drum capital was at the interesting one up to the level of American or Russia. So what we have here are a lot of assault guns and tank destroyers. So it looks like Martyr there is replicating the one. A Skirmishers, which is an assault gun, and the ACAM. The ACAM is the only one that is the serious threat to an allied vehicle. Why does the ACAM just sit there and place its extremely tough frontal armor? The Germans way to do that, but then you're probably now placing your weak flank armor to the American infantry or equipped to see the Bazookas and tank rocket. The Germans are now at flank, and so very sensibly they immediately abandon the attack and start falling back.
This is as good as you can
get on cellular digits. If there's ever going to be a test for great APEC battle, this is probably it. Tanks represent national. There's only one that exists in the world. It's the French National Tank Museum in Saumur. Now, the cognoscenti will look at the road wheels on that and realize that the vehicle is based off of a BMP or an MPLB, which are Soviet Cold War vehicles. Now, if the Germans are now outflanked, and so very sensibly they immediately abandon the attack and start falling back. This is as good as you want to get on cellular digits. If there's ever going to be a test for a great ATAC battle, this is probably it.
Did you know that more than 6 out of 10 American households don't have enough?
Tanks represent national. There's only one that exists in the world. It's the French National Tank Museum in Saumur. Now, the cognoscenti will look at the road wheels on that and realize that the vehicle is based off of a BMP or an MPLB, which are Soviet Cold War vehicles. By this point in the war, instead, we're talking towards the end of 1918, the Germans are very familiar with tanks, but you still want to shoot them anyway for a couple of reasons. One is, if the tanks are accompanying infantry, well, you're going to have an effect on the infantry, maybe suppress them to the point that the tanks are going to advance on their own. Secondly, the tanks were not the most robust at the time. There was a problem known as splash, especially when once the tanks would actually wear a type of chainmail in front of their face with goggles to stop the pieces of bullet coming into the gaps in the armor. Finally, it's psychological. It makes you feel a lot better to actually do something, even if it's a gesture of futility. The early tank guns for World War I were generally either being converted artillery pieces or quite often naval guns. The big problem you want to have with getting guns of depression, so there is a stop as to how far down the gun will progress, and that determines how close you can get to the enemy trench before you have to stop engaging. To this date, trench crossing ability in terms of how many meters of trench you can cross is still a criterion. The idea of can you cross it without collapsing it, well, that you want to collapse it or not. So even as late as the Iraqi campaigns, a tank could go to fortified enemy position, turn on the spot, and bury the people inside. With those unfortunate realities, basically tanks have many ways of killing people. The tracks are one of them. You think today a hand grenade, and they do very much, the tracks on the section were basically my whole tractor. So they weren't as battle-proof as a modern vehicle would be. Like the armor on this is so thick with a lot of heavy bullets. They even developed rifle bullets with an armor-piercing core to go through these early tanks. This is 8.5, maybe 9 at least. I could quibble a few things, but you generally get the concept across. Don't believe it. So Rambo has got into his, I'm going to call it a T-72, it's not actually. The helicopter here represents the Hind, it's actually a Hind. But the Hind, the Mi-24, was a gunship that still actually has some carrying capacity as well. It's carrying a lot of rockets and missiles and being heavily armored. Basically, for lack of a better term. There's only one tank that I can think of that is fully combat capable with one crewman, and that is the Swedish SPR-203, commonly known as the S-tank. The driver functions as the gunner as well, and that's why you're supposed to go with anti-aircraft vehicles in company with you, because their job is to defend you if they're threats. gunship discuss missile underpinned water bombing that are effective several kilometers away. And instead he's firing unguided rockets at the front of the Rambo tank. Why don't we just fly around the back and shoot the rockets into the engine net, or the rear turret, or some place that will actually cause damage? And so the enemy pilot dies the death and stupidity would deserve. Officially, if he was charged towards the aircraft, do it at an angle, he has to not only aim for, but also change distance at the same time. Whereas if you're charging straight at him, you're simplifying the problem for the aircraft that's coming at you. He doesn't need to worry about engine. It has a tank, so I'll give it a 1. The premise of an ambush in an urban setting by armor is not unheard of, but the idea of armor operating in an urban setting without infantry support is mostly questionable. Packers are not well suited for close range fighting. They really would excel on the Eastern Front, where the steppes of Ukraine, for example, are nice long lines of fire. That said, they can get away with it in this context because they know that the enemy is a single tank, no infantry. Alright, so we're building again. Now, this is how one thing we like. It's got the turret reverse over here. I mentioned before, you don't want to go to a building if you can avoid it. This is quite quickly in the car. And if you are going to go through, spin your turret over and you'll keep yourself safe. And what you can see here, the T-3045 has a very neat traverse handle, so it performs 2 functions. In this case, you can see he has it in manual mode, cranking around, as opposed to electric mode, which you flip the handle 90 degrees. However, maybe the runner doesn't know this, because in the movie, this was a found tank. Even myself, when I got into a T-3045 the first time, I'm trying to see where is the second control handle. I can't find it. This is quite feasible. When faced with the password, this close-range T-34 crew now has a choice. It can either run away, or it can potentially engage. Now, I would probably use the 34 crew on this for 2 reasons. One, the Panther is looking the wrong way entirely. And the other thing is, Panthers are not the easiest thing in the world to kill unless you can get around the side or behind them. In this case, you're already behind them. So why not engage? But the only thing I might have done differently was back up 2 or 3 tank lengths and aim the gun into the engine deck. That would be a more guaranteed kill than trying to aim the turret range.
You never forget your first drop. Reinforcement inbound. And God, David. Everything changes. Let me tell you, when it hits the fan, it ain't the Federation you're thinking of. It's those who stand together.
So the explosion actually just after the really happened. Generally speaking, when a tank is hit, it takes a couple of seconds, and those are your couple of seconds that is the difference between life and death when you're getting out of the vehicle. Although, in reality, the net effect difference to the crew is academic. They're basically heroes. In this context, I don't know, maybe 7. The movie is set about the time of the Yemeni Civil War, because that's kind of still ongoing. The film was made in the longer ends. You have the M60s and the T-72s. So the exact nature of the tanks you get in Yemen isn't entirely there, but hey, for movie purposes, it gets the point across. Certainly, there are Western and Eastern tanks in the area. So what I have here is a big 1cc combat vehicle equipment helmet, and the reason you would want to wear a helmet inside the tank is quite simply you're being thrown around. There's a lot of sharp, pointy things sticking out at you that as you're being thrown around, you don't want to hurt your head. But of course, you also have the dust goggles, because the tanks are throwing a lot of dust up at you. You don't have a windshield. If you're doing 40 miles an hour, there's still enough wind that you'll notice. So you wear a set of goggles as well. It's good to see armor actually work. So what has happened there is a ram hit explosive reactive armor. So those bricks that you see, what they generally consist of, road simplification, is a couple of pieces of metal sandwiching a piece of explosive. That when a round hits it, it explodes and disrupts or destabilize it to the extent that the main armor belt behind can stop it. You got a couple of problems. Firstly, if the entire turret system is offline, then the tank is still rocking a little bit. It may not look at much, but it's going to be rocking enough that you cannot hip shoot a 125 on a point target like a tank like that. Secondly, the liberty of hip shooting is eyeballing it. I don't see why you couldn't still be using the gun sight. You could then pull the trigger itself. Sandstorms do happen. In the 2003 invasion of Iraq, there was one that basically shut down the war for a couple of days. The big problem with sandstorm is the air filters. So the sand that's going to get into your air filters and clog them up very quickly. However, in this context, I don't think they had a heck of a lot of choice. They're being chased by a platoon in the 60s. They were probably going to die anyway, so why not make for the sandstorm and hope for the best? So I think sand is probably fair. I'm not even sure where to start. I'm trying to think of any reasonable military context this vehicle could exist in. The U.S. Army vehicle, the M1117, which is a derivative of the old NAV 100 in Vietnam. It's basically a huge armored 4x4 with a gun turret on the top for military police use. I'm sure they wouldn't mind something like this. Generally speaking, convoys, just because of the nature of roads, you tend to be in columns instead of line abreast like in the shot here. You have a bit of a choice, depending on how many vehicles you have, and how far apart you want the vehicles to be. Because the idea is that your lead vehicle is going to be sufficiently far in front of whatever it is that you're protecting the main body of the convoy. So with only 3 vehicles, you're kind of limited as to what you can do. But your typical is going to be maybe 2 up front, then the main asset, and then 1 bringing in the rear. Cannons are not common, but they are a thing. Some are finally mounted as experiments on tanks as well, but they're basically a waste of space, waste we don't see them on tanks. In terms of the missile launcher, yeah, missile launchers on armored cars are a thing. This particular elevating out of the 4x4 is probably closer to a BRDM anti-tank system, so that's actually for anti-armor purposes, not anti-aircraft. But hey, I guess when you're dealing with that man, anything goes. I got nothing. Zero, sorry, got no.
Ceasefire, target destroyed.
The Germans have given the equivalent with PaK-40, so it's a very good anti-tank with 7.5 centimeter caliber, definitely a valid threat against an M4. That was a doctrinal fire command. Now the reason I know this is they actually sent me descriptions and told me, look, that is basically alert, target, and command of execution is abbreviated fire command. The fire commands back in World War II weren't quite as regimented as they are today, but the fundamentals are actually still the same. Yeah, have an argument, do you want to advance over open ground as a home improvement, do you want to bound in sections? In this case, because of the amount of infantry that they're trying to provide cover for, I can see perhaps why they went as a full platoon online, but also it's very, very open, long fields, so maybe it was necessary for the entire platoon to advance online, simply so that they can see the target. Somebody's going to ask, how can a attack would distance from short range? You'll be surprised once you're at So they're having studies, and the reputation of these vehicles is that it doesn't, in reality, they're fired 20 rounds to get a single kill, because the stress of combat is such that it is not calm and collected on a gunnery range when you do the scientific testing. It's, oh God, I could have died. Let's go. Now that scene is basically why I begin tanks. A line of tanks, every machine gun is going. A single tank is considered to have firepower more or less equivalent to an infantry platoon. Because you have the heavy machine gun on top, you got a coax machine gun, you got a bow machine gun, and oh, by the way, you've got a cannon. That is a lot of firepower from a single vehicle, and you can imagine the sheer suppression, psychological effect that comes with this, let alone the legal effects. I know there were folks that didn't like that I gave the last Fury a 9, but I'm giving this one a 9 as well.
Most people have no clue the best way to make money on Amazon is not with physical products. It's Amazon's other company, Audible. People like Katrina and Carla, Elena, Renee, all making passive income using the same system.
Since publishing my first book, I found a new confidence in myself.
I decided to take a leap of faith.
I said to myself, that's it. I'm committed. I'm living for this thing.
Absolutely insanely mind-blowing.
Anybody can succeed in this as long as they put their heart into it.
This will change your life.
This thing works. The best part is it's literally a done-for-you system. You're not buying any merchandise, you're not storing any merchandise, you're not shipping any merchandise, and you need zero tech skills to get started. Now, I wish I could say I'm the genius who discovered this method, but I'm not. I learned everything from the Mickelson tools. I took their free training. All you need to do is click the link, and I'll take you to a free workshop where you'll learn the same done-for-you 4-step process that we are using to make thousands of dollars every month in passive income. The reason people are having such amazing results so fast is because hardly anyone knows about this. But you can ignore this just because it's an ad, or you can click the link below and find out why this 4-step process is working for so many people and why it can work for you. And just by clicking the link and watching the short training today, you're going to get 3 bonuses that have not been offered before. But click the link to claim your bonuses and get in on round 4 of this amazing opportunity for passive income. The most important thing you can do right now is don't waste any more time. Click the link, go through the free training, and learn the 4-step process that is providing financial freedom for so many others. Click the link, and I'll see you in the training.
So this was an actual problem in Afghanistan. The same mountain in this country is that their tanks, which were designed really for open warfare, the planes of Germany can't elevate high enough. So what the Soviets ended up doing was they developed a variant of the Z-223 anti-aircraft on the Chilkat called the Afghani. So they would use those in conjunction with the tanks to provide that close-range, high-elevation security that Moscow here is having a problem with. The actual effect of any gunship is not going to be the heavily like you see here as for visual effect, but you actually get a very small hole that goes through the gun tube, but it's still plenty bad to disable it. The grenade will not separate the tracks, so I must conclude it with the rocks, but it's not possible for rocky terrain and maybe a less experienced driver to angle his strap in such a way when he's turning that he gets rocks caught in between the wheels of the track, snaps the track pin, and that throws your track and loses it. This is probably a 7
My name's Nicholas Irving. I'm a former U.S. Army Ranger Special Operations Sniper. I'm also known as the Reaper for my 33 confirmed kills in Afghanistan.
I made for assault.
Absolutely not. She's all game. Like, there's no support. It's all muscling it in to make that shot. And that gun, no, yeah, yes, no. The Olympic arm K-23B is what it is. That weapon is like literally accurate for, it's like 50 meters. That distance looks like it's about, at most, a couple of 100 yards. Put it back in the case and go back and get a different one.
It's not me. I do not have a clean shot.
Yeah, I don't think she had a clean shot at all. In the military, a clean shot would be, you're not going to wound or injure or kill something you don't intend to. If her target is one of those two men, that bullet, it's a 5.56, it's going to zip right through the bad guy and potentially wound or kill the guy she's trying to help out or save.
I say take the shot, but can't really take the bloody shot.
If I was forced to take the shot, I'll pull the trigger, but I'm not going to guarantee it. Luckily, the train does kind of like come towards her, as opposed to moving left to right. That takes out so much more of the mathematics behind making a shot, but it's moving closer or away from you. It's all about just moving above the target or a little bit below the target, as opposed to, aiming in front of it and having that individual essentially run into the bullet. I would rate it a 1. Like, it's not happening at all. That little good tactical deep breath pause, before the shot is really good. Be more precise. Essentially, you have to be calm. And one of the easiest ways to calm your body down or right before a shot is to just take deep breaths and get the blood circulating.
Even when U.S. Women's National Team goalie Gabby Swanson isn't on the field, she always makes the perfect play. Thanks to the Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards Visa card, she earned 50% cash back on her purchase after choosing the online shopping category.
I would have gotten more square behind the rifle, as opposed to like having my legs off to the side like that. Maybe got down like in a squatting stance or on my knees and kind of put my weight behind the gun. That way when the recoil is kind of more straight back motion and not this motion, he's going to pretty much get that with the body alignment and the way he's holding the rifle. Yeah, I think it was smart for him to let the vehicle get closer to him. Everybody thinks being a sniper, you want the longest, furthest shots, but ideally you want the closer ones just because it makes your job that much easier. And it's almost like 100% guarantee you're going to hit. But with that, if I'm protecting someone and I shoot the vehicle within, a few yards from him, the guy is still going to get hit by the moving vehicle. I don't like that the car just did a triple axle like 20 feet from the guy. Like, that's not how that works at all. The only moving vehicles that I've shot, I was a machine gun, and I've never once made a car flip over. Normally they just crash into a wall or crash into another hard car and just roll off the side of the road into the desert. I'd give it a 6. The only thing that's pulling me back are giving it a lesser numbers because of the sniper, waiting for the car to get closer. I mean, as far as being a highly accurate sniper rifle, concealed with the flute, I don't think so. There's a lot of big things on a sniper rifle that makes it accurate, but the barrel is like really important. And most barrels on sniper rifles are fluted, it's floated. It's like no interference between the barrel and the stock of the gun. That's to not like interfere with the harmonics when it goes off. That flute is like one continuous long object. It probably is accurate, maybe at the distances that you're shooting at. But I also don't know what caliber you shoot. But it's Tom Cruise, so it's probably really accurate. I'd give the female sniper the best position. Whenever she's in that little room or the lines on the wall, I think that really gives her an advantage. It almost is like shooting out a loophole. It's like a tactic snipers used overseas where you punch a small hole through a wall or something, and the sniper would back away from the wall and shoot through that hole to hit an object outside. A guy with the shades on, but he's not really in a concealed position, but I guess he's using his attire to make him at least stand out. Worst position, I have to say, Thompson. Any sniper rifle can be suppressed, even up to like 50 caliber sniper rifle. You're still gonna hear like a noise. It sounds like a clap, a loud clap, or if you took a ruler and smacked it on the desk, unless you use like subsonic rounds, which he may be using in this instance where I can see nobody else can really hear anything. Shooting lights are actually really hard to do. Like, that was one of our things overseas sometimes, when a smoke was going up on a building, we want the light shot out for them to make it dark. It's actually pretty tough. It blurs out everything, and it's hard to find exactly, where the middle is at. I'll give it a 5. Those shots are possible, but I don't think that this scenario setup is that realistic. I grew up watching like one of the reasons why it's like every sniper, you have your rifle and you have your ghillie suit. What it essentially does is break up the outline of the human body and mimics or makes you appear to be brush or oil. But it's not just the ghillie suit that makes you camouflage. What you really want to do is put a bunch of natural vegetation into the ghillie suit so you look more like the natural surroundings as opposed to just this big pile of ghillie suit. You have the spotter and you have the sniper. The spotter is the one who's not pulling the trigger and he's holding up using a spotting scope. It looks like a red dot camera thing or something like that. That's just not what it looks like. Either you're going to have a reticle that mimics or similar to what the sniper's using. These mill dots or radiant lines are going to, give you your distance and be able to track where the bullet impacts.
650.
Being a sniper, it's like 80 to 90% of your job is observation. It's actually really rare that a sniper does get a chance to pull the trigger. Most of our stuff is just relaying information, watching stuff, taking pictures, and telling the commanders what's going on the ground. So you can be out there for as long as the job needs. I think everything you did there was just fine. Looks like you're using like an M24 sniper rifle, could be something similar to that variant, but like they've been out to like 800 meters, 650 yards. Like it's far, but it's not that far for like a sniper and a body shot, which is what I would normally aim for. Is perfect. Like that's all you're gonna do with that. My only issue would probably have something soft underneath his rifle. Maybe put down a pack or his backpack or something, to rest it on. That helps with the harmonics and having the rifle bounce and get all the way from you. I give it a 7. I was going to give it an 8, but a 7 because the sniper scope and the reticles and all that stuff just didn't make any sense. To stay still when you're pinned down by a sniper, it's like almost a death wish. It's just a matter of time before he's going to figure something out to make those bullets impact. Running zigzag patterns, getting out as fast as you can is probably your best bet.
I was born with wings, but psoriasis swooped in to clip them.
It crushed my confidence. It kept me in the shadows.
But no longer will psoriasis get a piece of me. With Bemzelix, I can't wait to say, I'm back.
I'm back.
I'm back. I can love my skin again.
Only Bemzelix targets and blocks IL-17A plus F to calm inflammation.
I can control my plaques and start getting myself back.
Bemzelix helps adults with moderate to severe psoriasis control plaques to deliver clearer skin fast for results that last.
I will give myself back the freedom of shorts.
Dare to wear black again, from head to toe.
Most people got 100% clear skin.
Saw him after the first dose. Serious side effects, including suicidal thoughts and behavior, infections, and lowered ability to fight them. Liver problems and inflammatory bowel disease have occurred. Tell your doctor if these happen or worsen, or if you got a vaccine or plan to.
Start to get yourself back.
Ask your dermatologist about Xelix.
To prevent an enemy coming in to do what just happened here, sneak up behind you. And snipers typically teach you no more than like 2 shots, 2 or 3 shots, sniper hide is front. You wouldn't want to move ideally to a new location. Once you have a good sniper hide set up, the odds of you like getting out after that second shot, third shot is usually slim. But there are countermeasures to deter people from entering that sniper hide. Like for us, we might put up a claymore or some booby traps or something like that behind us, and even a guy who can shoot watching our back. That actually wasn't too bad. It's at nighttime. The lights are other than that, we hit targets at nighttime, but the distances are extremely close. We had a sniper scope that was mounted with a PBS 14, I believe, which is a night vision attachment that goes on the front of your scope. Both guns, both rifles, they jam all the time, especially in like dusty conditions. That both guns pull back, it's exposed to the elements. And it's such a slower process as opposed to like a semi-automatic where the ball is coming back extremely fast. So it's more prone to collect dust and things of that nature that would cause it to jam up. I don't know. I give it a 6 because realistically, shooting a nighttime like that, I can see missing that much. I've debated doing this. I was pinned down by a sniper in Afghanistan, taking my helmet off. That's your last resort. All you're trying to do is locate a sniper position. I would have probably stuck my helmet up like on the tip of my gun and angled it up. Just like throw it. Might need that for later, but there's no way that any sniper would have hit that. Like back in World War II, snipers used to use the trees to hide in and shoot from. There really is no benefit to hiding in a tree. Once they find you out, all they have to do is, center all their guns over that tree and chop it down. Hiding underneath the tree, or like in the hole tree where some of them get hollowed out. I can see that, but I'm scared of bugs, so it's not for me. As far as taking the shot when he's injured, 9 times out of 10, if the sniper's being sent out, it's to overwatch his guys and make sure nothing happens to them. But if we're already engaged with targets and we're already being shot at, then anything that's moving on that opposite end is a threat or has a weapon is going to get shot. So, yeah, he had every right to pop a few rounds off at this guy. I would have too. I'd give it a 9, just because I've been in like a situation where I debated taking my helmet off and using it as a decoy. So I was an offset tech advisor on this film and also played the dead guy that he got the radio from. Should have won the award for the best dead guy ever. But that dance was real. We were really like in the desert. It's extremely hard to aim through. We call it a ground, where it's just like a semi, I guess, dust that goes through. You can't see anything. So you definitely not going to be able to make a shot, especially if the distances he's going through with that much, just blowing around and obscuring his vision. I'm not going to say it's impossible to take out an enemy sniper who's hiding among stuff like that. The hardest thing the good sniper is going to have to do is locate. From what I remember, I recall it being over 1,000 meters away, which is extremely far to be conducting a counter sniper operation. The sound of the rifle is honestly inspiring in the movie. It's not how it sounds in real life. Like this sounds like a semi-automatic rifle with like a suppressor on it or something like that. In real life, that gun is just a big thunderous boom, a big bang. The way he was shooting in the movie, it's kind of like it's a semi-automatic as opposed to him cranking the bolt back every time, and the sound is scary. Yeah, he was good from the get-go. Like shooting in an open area, the sniper has eyes on you. There's really nothing you can do about it unless you are going to get up and just take a chance and run for it. So crawling away slowly wouldn't work. It's just going to watch you crawl and decide when to shoot anyway. So it's a lose. This scene here, I don't think I work that day. So I only have so much control. But this scene I would read like, oh my, I'm doing this to myself. I'm going to give it a 5. I don't know if I would be comfortable taking that shot through the windshield portion of a helicopter. Bullets act funny when they hit objects, and the first object that bullet's going to hit is that glass. And because it's curved, it's going to deflect the bullet up or down, left or right. There's really no determining factor as to where that bullet's going to land at. So one shot would go for that helicopter scene, not so much from underneath the car. It's actually a good thing to do. I've shot from underneath various vehicles and structures and stuff like that, especially like in an urban environment. You're going to encounter so much debris and rubble on the battlefield or where you're fighting from, so you have to make do with what you have. The only issue was like her hand placement on the rifle. Like she already had the bipods. I don't see a need to have her hand underneath it, supporting it as well, just extra weight dangling for no reason. I would have probably had my support hand closer or holding the buttstock into my shoulder pocket as opposed to that. During sniper school, we were always told to call in an airstrike when up against the sniper, because it's really tough to take out or fight against. I believe she shipped like 7.62 caliber rounds, which is well within the capabilities of taking out a target at that distance. The odds of it being dead on at whatever range it was would have meant that she would have had to know that distance ahead of time and kind of dial in her skill for that. Instead, she just stuck it on there and pulled the trigger on the head. It's not really like that. But other than that, I think she did, given the circumstances, I would have confidence. But I give it, she looked really qualified. And some of the best fights I've ever seen. Sniper, Ms. Pavlichenko. She was credited with over 309 kills, and as far as putting that bullet through the tank python, I don't know. I've only aimed at the tank one time, it was by accident, and I was quickly reminded, don't do that again, they plant the big head my way. Chief went into her bubble, Carlos Hathcock, Marine Corps sniper, called it getting into his bubble. That's what she's doing with all these border cells and explosions are going off around her. It's getting into that bubble, being able to shut that outside, roll off chaos and calming down and ignoring everything to pull off a shot. I can relate to that 110%. No, so bullets don't travel in a straight line like that. They travel in a park, even at 100 yards. Win that battle, you have to go higher. Cause the bullets to go up, aim at its apex point, fall back down. All snipers are just like really good NFL quarterbacks, just throwing it up and falling into the target. And bullets work the same exact way. Because it was based on a true story, I'll give it a 9, not a 10, just because the bullets are female, women make the best snipers out there.
Abandon selected target. All targets are now free.
The distances he's shooting from, like that's very cool. Here it looks like he's maybe at most 150, 100 yards away. like less than that, he's shooting down, so less than 50 yards possibly. The scope is not bad either. I'm used to like Mil-Dot scopes and Forest reticles. They look like busy Christmas trees, you know, like without lights on the side sniper scopes. Those are very cinematic. Shooting in a crowded environment is extremely tough. During the international sniper competition that I attended, that was one of the challenges, was to shoot moving targets amongst the crowd. It's extremely hard to do. But our distance is way further than when he appears to be shooting like a lot. At the angles he was given, and the distance, it's not that complicated. Just worrying about where the bullet's gonna hit after you hit your target would be like my only concern, because they're in so close proximity to each other. It has a possibility of getting into. I would give it a solid 8. It's highly realistic. The scopes are almost messed up. I don't understand why they don't put a real scope reticle in there. So this is an actual spotting scope, similar to what the individual, the sniper's using in the movie, and he's using it pretty correctly. Like he's using it for target detection to identify where a threat may be. You notice the little bullet on the ledge of that window, and then finding things that were out of place that didn't make sense. Eventually finding what the sniper was is something you see rare in movies. The actual use of target detection and how important it is for a sniper to find the smallest details and things that are out of place to find out, find who they're looking for. What you want to do is be pushed back away from the hole and not put the barrel protruding outside of the hole. Get the position away and alleviates that whole purpose of why you made that hole in the first place. I'll give it a 7. I love the use of target protection, but he messed up putting the barrel in the hole.
Hey everyone, Jay Lee here, 13-year Navy Explosive Ordnance Disposal, or EOD vet, did 4 combat deployments, 3 to Afghanistan, and 1 to East Africa. That thing is apparently the Cadillac of trawlers. Can I say 100% that this wouldn't be entertained? No, because it might. But what I do know is there are probably a dozen other ways to attack this device from inside the bus. I mean, something rudimentary as big as stick with some film so we can take an x-ray of the device so we can actually see what's going on.
Jack up an aging along with the wire.
There is cover.
He's talking on a radio and or a phone right next to this thing. It's electronically initiated. They don't know if that energy will cause that device to fire or not. So that whole thing is not realistic whatsoever.
Even when U.S. Women's National Team forward Mallory Swanson isn't on the field, she always makes the perfect play. Thanks to the Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards Visa card, she'll earn 3% cash back on her purchase after choosing the online shopping category.
I can't bypass the fire!
Collapsing circuits. Yeah, collapsing circuits are real. It's, there's 2 or more detonators, and when you cut one, the other one will fire. It's common for us to train to that. It's very unlikely to encounter that at least in Afghanistan, in my experience, we didn't encounter a lot of collapsing circuits as mainly pressure plates, stuff like that, very simple circuits.
Howard Payne, Atlanta PD Bomb Squad.
I want you to get out of there and sit tight. We're gonna go after the source.
They should 100% do something to this device and not just solely rely on the bomber helping them out. There are tools we have to disrupt an IED and a component, so it'll disrupt the firing train, it'll disrupt all the circuitry, and separate components remotely, and then we'll go down, check the disruption, and then separate components further and do our thing. Jack, I believe he is a bomb disposal officer with the LAPD. He should know these component recognition things and how and be able to identify how this device works, or at least have a good idea. This definitely gets a 0 because he knows better. He should have taken action. He should have brought tools out there with him. He could have taped it right next to it and disrupted that thing around the bus.
Got under 3 minutes. What do I do first?
I activated when I sat down. I get up.
This
is already hokey because he sat down and now it's arm. And there's a timer. In movies and TV, they often incorporate these big timers where it's counting down to detonation, but in all reality, it's mainly a safe and arm type mechanism. If I'm a bomb placer, I need to be able to place it and then safely get away. So there's a time, but you're not going to see this giant clock tick. You have 5 minutes before you die.
Colors don't matter. What I need you to do is tell me which one is hot to the touch.
The warm wire versus cold wires. You can make a circuit with the proper resistance, so none of the wires are warm. So like the movie tropes of the warm wire and or the colors of the wires is a total farce. I can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, whichever hardware store, your hardware store of choice, get any color wire I want, right? And put it in.
Take the small box out of the kit and turn it on.
That kit probably looks like something I would pull tools from in a soft special operations force environment. From my experience in Afghanistan, it was all special operations forces or naval special warfare. We flew in helicopters somewhere, landed, and ran to a target, right? Or walked a great distance to get to a target. You really want to limit what you have on your body. So you're not going to be carrying around briefcases that is full of tools.
Just try to hang it in the orange wire between the 2 clamps.
I don't want to get into that specifically in detail because that is how we attack certain things. But yeah, those clamps are they're for a very specific purpose for multiple detonators, and you would need another item that you can put there to do diagnostic work on that type of device. You would need a little bit more time. I mean, a lot more training than just him saying, "Oh yeah, I'm on the warm wire," and then cut in between it. Right? There's a lot of testing you have to do before you can cut a wire. So you got the whole setting, him sitting down in it, arming it, and then like having this opportunity to render it safe. Yeah, if you wish. Say, oh, how it was set up and how it was in place, totally different. He had a Claymore, he put it on top of the Grand Slam bomb, huge British bomb. Claymores are used all over. They're already wired, they're pre-made to be set as booby traps up to their core. So he just had the tripwire, put something that he thought one of these people chasing him, idiots, would grab. There are 100% bomb detection dogs, and in this clip, those dogs, I believe, are going for human detection. They're going for sniffing out Rambo, not necessarily sniff out explosive hazards in the woods. And even if they were, those dogs are running full speed. That's like essentially you trying to sniff a hot dog in the corner while sprinting down the hallway, like hyperventilating. Essentially, it's never going to happen. Would the blast wave be that extended? I mean, it was drawn out. To have that effect, the explosive component in there is for that. They added aluminum into the composition of that explosive to extend blast. But that being said, that's like a nuclear blast wave that is just like kind of continuing to go out. It would be really big and done.
And welcome back to this year's Fox Plan.
Miller just allowed to visit way over Jones's head. Shark.
Oh,
That blast wave would have killed the lesser man. About 60% shorter than TNT, and that little black thread goes exponentially further than blast. So yeah, he's definitely within that. This is probably the most realistic clip as far as how things function and how people think. There's nothing to do with it. There's not two things style that will be at that deep for John Nickel.
It's a cylinder cipher. C-U-N-N. It's my last name.
If someone is going to make an improvised nuclear device like a cipher, anything is fine. There's many ways that nuclear weapons are made. They're specific.
state sponsored and then there's non-state sponsored. State sponsored is all kinds of different protocols, right? Safeties, what have you, army signatures. Non-state sponsored, if someone is going to get a device with like your cipher, it can be armed when it takes your journal. Exactly. Really, it was a mud suck, right? A hoax IED, or a hoax device. In real life, hoaxes are actually very common. There's especially in the restaurant industry, they were devices, essentially. They put it in the road, totally fake, just something that would key up EOD response, and then they would be watching and videotaping the whole procedure, despite all of the craziness that was in the scene, using a hoax to gather intelligence on people and to learn more about them. Absolutely true. We do this one at 8 at different. because of the risk of something going off. But yeah, he could have done a lot more with his hands, like a deck cord, detonating cord right out in front of the gate. I forgot how many 155s, but that's what was in the trunk of that car once he saw the main charge, and that's what he should be going after anyway. Just reckless abandon. Yeah, this is just, it's totally Hollywooded up. The only realistic thing was the communication aspect of it. He gets a 1 out of 10. Miles of water. The water's crystal clear, so I mean there's no way. My fourth team I was on, my countermeasure team, but it was underwater sea mines and underwater IEDs and stuff like that. This is supposed to be a nuke that has fallen into the abyss. It's a big deal when we go to 200 feet of seawater. We're definitely not going to do free ascent to the bottom. There's always descent lines. We establish a safe area. Yeah, he doesn't have any search tools whatsoever. He just has his eyeballs and a flare, which is insane. And that's just diving in. So we haven't even gotten to the EOD part of it. Yeah. Communications totally wazoo. It's 3 miles underwater. RF signal can penetrate 3 miles worth of water. We do have very rudimentary ways of communicating, i.e. a float on the top of the water that's going to go via a line, and we'll just pull it. And there's certain other pulls move a certain thing. So we communicate like that in a bottom line centric environment where we're taking seismic and magnetic precautions. But yeah, nuke, that is a totally different ball game.
You have to cut the ground wire, not the lead wire.
Without getting into any super specifics on nuclear weapons design, we would have researched this ordnance item. This is exactly how you render it. Say if you want to separate components, separate the fuse from it. Sometimes we do that explosively, sometimes we do it mechanically, and then we just raise it up and bring it to the beach and explode it on the surface. I'd have to do that a big fat donut for realism a zero, because that's not at all how nuclear weapons function. I love this show. It's so funny. Unexploded ordnance, UXO, those are very common because sometimes fuses just got out, and it's still a threat because we just don't know the condition of it, right? Why did it not go off? Is it a time? Is it a proximity thing? Is it a delay that just hasn't gone all the way yet? So very much a concern. Less so for everyone else that's behind cover, but mainly for the guys that are right on top of it.
Heartbeat tracker. Use brake awake.
It is definitely plausible to use a stethoscope to examine a suspected clockwork fuse. Seems hokey, but yeah, that is old school legit. It was a thing for old bombs like that. They had clockwork mechanisms in the fuse that you could hear ticking down. We went to that a lot. Anyway, that was a lot of training in school just to get the exposure to it.
To the propaganda bomb.
Leaflets are definitely employed. They were dropped in all over Europe during World War II. They were employed in, North Korea, Vietnam. Leaflets are definitely a type of psychological warfare, or even just a means to communicate with a population that just is confined to an area. I give it a solid 7 for realism. Granted, 2 random people would not be working on this bomb, but yes, we've got to dock it a little bit. I just don't know why they didn't have any bomb squad people.
So on the side of the timer, there should be a serial number. That'll tell me which wire y'all need to cut.
Archer here is showing an inexperienced person being coached through this whole ordeal. Like many other movies and TV shows, it would be almost impossible. Unless it was set up exactly how the manufacturer wanted it to be set up. If that's the case, totally doable, right? I can walk through anything. It's like, okay, cool. How many wires on it? What color is that?
You ready? First letter is B.
Bravo.
Thanks. Second letter is K.
Image in mind?
Oh God, that is so spot on as far as communications, especially when it's in the band. I can relate. You have radio frequencies, you have interference, you have distance, you have other things in the way, so your signal can be degraded. Everyone is getting ramped up in this episode, but in real life, when stuff is going on and comms are an issue, you just really stay calm and cool, collective on the radio. That way, even if it is a weak signal, you can still hear what's being said.
Doing it. Done. Well, what's going on?
The trope here with the green wires being cut and speeding up the clock is just erroneous. It makes no sense to have that feature in there unless you're trying to create some type of anxiety. And in real life, trust me, if you're faced with a live explosive that can detonate at any action, keeping that at bay is already going to be difficult enough. So yeah, at the end of the day, people want their things to go off, so that's how they make them. I'll give them a 4. The communication piece, that was hilariously accurate.
I'm gonna have to defuse them individually.
How long is it gonna take?
I gotta find them and then disband them. 30 minutes.
There's just like a chunk of high explosive taped to a pipe. You would see that, boom, and make a call, and everyone would get out of there, except for one other person, him and one other security person, and then I'm going to take immediate action on that device. And immediate is immediate, it's not 30 minutes. He was using a mirror for whatever reason. I'm not going to use an inspection mirror when I have my eyeballs and I can see all the way around it. So yeah, that's kind of hokey. He's got nods on his helmet, so that's cumbersome, especially when he's working on that one that was at head level. His nods can hit it, and if there's an anti-move thing on there, boom, he just functioned it as designed. So I would take my helmet off so there's nothing, no obstructions that could potentially hit this device. if he's the only one there, yeah, that's what he's got to do. Because the right assessment. What's going to kill me right now? That's an enemy combatant. He's probably going to kill me if he sees me. So that needs to be taken care of first. But yeah, he would have at least one shooter with him, a little bit of range. So when I'm working, I can be focused on this. They could have classed it up a little bit, but often. He did use ceramic scissors at the end. I thought that was a nice touch. Granted, he used ceramic scissors. Said that competitors typically, when wires are coiled up like that, there's two of them. He kind of both. He could have squished the two wires that are conducted together and set it off. Yeah, there's a lot of hokey stuff, so yeah, it's got to be low through.
What was the general direction?
Robot ready, fine.
They're in Helmand, which I was also in Helmand. Helmand Province in Afghanistan. And yeah, robots are awesome. I didn't see the robot go down with a tool. Tool in, tool out, that's what we do. That's what's preached from day one in EUD school. If the robot has cutters on it, it has grippers, it separate components, whatever the case may be. So if it did find something, they could countercharge it, or they could set it down. At the end of the day, that is what a robot is for. They are expendable devices. If worse comes to worse, they find something by functioning it, it blows up, not even being. The entire team was standing out in front of the vehicle. That's totally not what would happen. They would be inside the vehicle, driving this robot. That way, you have mitigation from fragmentation. At least be behind the vehicle. For God's sake,
I need you to keep your head.
Want Ethereum in your portfolio? Look for ETH, Grayscale Ethereum Mini Trust. Low-cost exposure to the second largest cryptocurrency from Grayscale, the crypto specialist. Type ETH into your investment account today. ETH, Grayscale Ethereum Mini Trust. Crypto investing begins here.
This is a closed switch. Very old and very rudimentary, very easy to defeat. Nick, the EOD operator, should have seen that. He identified that it's a pull. Cool. Cut it. Great. Just cut it and down with it. But he did the thing of holding his head. You tell someone that they're connected to a line with a bunch of explosives, they're going to freak out. That's one of the rare times where you can actually attack a switch. It's very clear cut. That could have been handled way differently, and then everyone would have survived. It's tough, you know. A lot of EOD procedures and tactics are written in blood, just like this. The survivors, like, okay, this is exactly what they encountered over the radio. This is what was said. Now we have our new set of TPPs, so it doesn't happen again. We just went 5. It's got some stuff, some super hokey stuff, but all in all, not bad. The plausibility of having a bomb that is unable to be rendered safe, it's all a matter of time, really. If time is, you know, not an object, then yeah, you can spend the time in the diligence and really get it disassembled to where it's, you know, it's demilled. So now you have to weigh, can I render this safe in 1 minute and 30 seconds or not? And the answer is probably no, right? Because especially with a device as sophisticated as that is supposed to be, your best case is you have 1 minute 30 to get this as far away from everyone as possible. Yeah, water is has a great tamping effect because it cannot compress. It really depends on what the actual explosive, the nuclear yield of this bomb was and how deep it was able to go. The mission of EOD is protection of personal property. So yeah, getting that device out in a way, moving it, relocating it, even if it's to your own demise, is what we would do for the sake of protecting personal property. Is it a 9? Batman, 9? I'll give it a 9. I like to think as an actress, genuine, of EOD. Hey, my name is Pattis Brody. 21-year military veteran, I served 13 years in the U.S. Coast Guard and Surface Rescue helicopter pilot, and 8 years in the Army as a UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter pilot.
Alright, welcome in, boys.
So the Coast Guard primarily face offshore and going offshore to affect most of our rescues. However, the Coast Guard does train for vertical surface rescues, which is what we're seeing right here, cliff rescues, and everything else.
Stay perfectly still. I have to stabilize the car, okay? Car secured.
Alright, if that is the worst thing, you are in what you call a committed situation. And every fellow pilot would be shaking at this point right now, knowing that the hoist hook is attached to a vehicle that could fall off. It's not happening, we're not connecting up to any vehicle.
Shelby, I'm coming down. Garrison, you're flying.
So, pilot goes in the back seat. First of all, you know how much stuff you can knock off? You can literally turn off both of your engines. The fact that your vest and everything could snag, you can put things off. You can actually have a person turn with their MBD sitting on top of their head and actually hit one of the engines and knock it into that line with that. So, yeah, it's very possible to actually turn off something or just climbing, trying to get them back there. If I am outside the helicopter, we have a real bad problem. As a pilot, I am never outside. They were trying to show like the hoist was holding the truck up, right? The hoist that you have on there about 600 pounds, so it's not the primary beam that's holding up anything. At that point, then it was smoking, straining so hard. Now there is a swivel, you could flip the switch to actually cut and shear that hoist cable, which is what they were doing at that point. So somehow they sheared the one cable and the rock and the other person was on a different cable. I don't know what that is. I'll say that our helicopter has one cable that we're going to operate with. Once that cable gets sheared, everything is going down. That's not going to happen on so many different levels on this thing. This right here.
Air Force Rescue 2, 3, 1.
I don't know why nobody wears MBGs. Everybody has MBGs on, the night vision goggles on for the helicopters. Nobody wears it. If you have the option of having them on, yeah, you're going to have it. The fuel probe that you saw, that's not a standard piece of equipment on helicopters. It's just certain helicopters that are either doing long-range rescue. Most helicopters do not have that. Your biggest thing at that point is if you miss where that tube was going and flowing through, if you're going to cut that thing with the main rotor, you're going to damage the main rotor system. Give me that back. Looking right now at a lightning strike, knock on wood, and thank God I've never had that happen. You risk frying a lot of electronics, engine control systems that are on there. You're hoping that your engines are staying online. You would probably lose a lot of electronic AC and DC systems inside the helicopter. But you should be flying like a tail rotor or something. Every year, Coast Guard has to do what's called dumper training. So you get flipped over in a chair, pulled to simulate having a ditch. You're rolled upside down. You can do multiple different egresses to show that you have the proficiency to be able to get out of a merged helicopter every single year. Then every 6 years, let them change it, but every 6 years you go to actual school where you go through the whole mock simulator of a device going in and going over. So this is part of the business. You've got defoggle or lead throttle, which gives you about 2 to 3 minutes at normal breath. In that mode right there, you have about 10 to 15 seconds if they're breathing around the room. But the pure shock of going in and the water temperature itself is going to take your breath out. But I do like the realistic aspect of seeing somebody grab that seed bottle and put that thing in their mouth.
Even when U.S. women's national team forward Mallory Swanson isn't on the field, she always makes the perfect play. Thanks to the Bank of America customized cash rewards Visa card, she'll earn 3% cash back on her purchase after choosing the online shopping category.
Now, for everybody that flies, we have emergency designator. So the new voices are no longer going to get you out of the door. It's too much pressure on that door at that point. You're literally hitting your emergency jettison like it's blowing cartridge in the door popping off. And just lifting up the actual door pins out of the way so you can create that full opening at that point. Anybody going with that? Yeah, you want that. I did a good try about that. The theatrics is amazing, and it's that close to the rig of the boat. We've done multiple rescues in the Gulf of Mexico. That's where I was stationed there before. So flying out with rigs, typically have burn-offs happening. There's always some gases and stuff like that that's coming off. So the rigs all have more of a escape type pods and things for the rig workers to be able to get out and get off the rigs, and then we can effect the rescue from the open water. To try to go into there, yeah, we're no good to anybody, and it's so much risk with that flying debris, shrapnel going through the rotor blade system. You're just now a victim. Now put yourself in the crew in that situation. Any standard deployment of the rescue swimmer is just going down. At that point, you can call it a direct deployment of the rescue swimmer, especially when you're deploying somebody to the boat that's underway. You'll have them down, you'll have them just off the water and above. But to say that you're about to send somebody through the plane, no sport in essence, not going to happen. When somebody is on the cable, hook it back to the block, just to prevent mishap or for somebody to pirouette and unhook themselves off the cable at the same time, that's pretty dangerous. Nobody do that crazy. It's there. Put somebody in the rescue swimmer would come up and slap everybody in the helicopter. Put them down in something like so. Absolutely not. Completely necessary. When you jump from the helicopter, that's a free fall deployment rescue swimmer. That is reserved for daytime work. So we would only place the rescue swimmer down at that point, not let them jump from the helicopter. You're seeing like 20-foot swells or something like that. I mean, the helicopter is hovering at least 30 to 40 feet. You misjudge that swell, that's a 4 or 5 story drop. That water turns into a solid real quick. Especially if that's real quick. It's a standard rescue basket. You call it for the basket, have it ready for pickup time. That's exactly what you do. We're standing by, keeping our light in the direction of the swimmer. Typically always cycle. And as they're getting ready, we're going to try to place the device really within about 5 to 10 feet of them once they're called for. So, very, very real. That bingo rule, that's a real term. It just means like if you leave now, you will land with a fuel reserve when you get back at the station. Anything that's less than there, you can be at risk of either not making it to the destination or the airport or flaking out. It's always a race against how much fuel you have. When you're seeing the wind, that rotor wash, it's beating down on you, it's a mini hurricane underneath it. There's no communicating with the swimmer in the water at that point in time, all hand on things. That would be insane if you were to hear a person swimmer in the water underneath, pulling it down. Not going to happen. The waves out there, that's in the Arctic kind of where I think that sea is taking place. 20, 30 feet, and that road wave can happen. But when you're trying to be above that, the explosion, that's the Hollywood part. I've seen helicopters crash on tarmacs and different things. So even in the Army, we saw one thing, an SA-7, and hit the engine out. That was the only one I saw that was on fire. I would think it was so far right now, we're seeing pretty much a legitimate helicopter rescue. It's daytime. You can pre-fly stores in daytime. Their altitude was where they sort of safely go out. So they're going to have their goggles, everything down, and they're free fall with their gear up. They go in the water. So they're going down, they're coming up, and everything is going in. The device going down and being placed about 5 feet from them in the water. That's the technical Coast Guard rescue somewhere operations on there. You have Baywatch. That's really the LA County Fire Department. They're AKA Baywatch here in the Los Angeles area. We always the rest of them are easily dispersed into the vessel. The fire department, they're trained paramedics as well. Primarily, you're going to try to get people in with the least risky rescue method, which would be, unless they had sustained something else that they needed immediate transport to bring them to the helicopter and transport to the nearest hospital. But the rest of it itself is pretty technical. If you're going to free fall, it's a 9 just because out of the stuff on top of his head. I love the precision flag of that. This will be MH-68 or AW-109 Stingray. Really called for Hitchcock, which is our helicopters tactical interdiction. It's a specialized unit that they primarily focus these interdicting drug smugglers or anything else like that in international waters. Mostly dealing with drug smuggling. We do all a little fast, so typically out front on the boat. They're going through somewhere around like the 120 to 130, 130 knots. If you're really got a tailwind and stuff like that.
Watch out, he got a weapon on board. Bail out, bail out!
I've never been at Hicron. I didn't fly airborne use of force with the Coast Guard. A lot of times what you're trying to do is sort of try to stay outside of what they have on board of there and make sure we at least maximize the use of our weapon systems. It went for the kill shots right there. So normally they're going to probably put some stitches in the water. If they stitch in the water, you can see it. It looks like stitches from a machine gun being going out. That's kind of just to escalate the level of use of force at that point before they try to shoot the engines out and really are more so trying to just disable the vessel. That's primarily what they're doing. Just disable the vessel. But I give them at any point in time, you're committed, you have something that's attached to something that can pull you down. That's just the worst situation for a helicopter, right? So you're just at the mercy of being on that pivot point and just completely helpless. Wet, slippery hand conditions, trying to hold on to a ladder, the adrenaline, and the amount of rotor wash. It's a mini hurricane now, so you're holding on with quite a bit of grip. So I'm pretty sure you're almost trying to bear hugging the ladder at any point just to try to maintain your grip.
We're gonna stop! Cut it now! Keep it down! We're gonna die here! I said cut it!
They were actually pretty well talking as a crew for saying to get rid of it. That's a tough call. It sounds easy to watch the movie and say that. That is a really hard call to say sheer. Even when we're getting ready to start getting hoisted rescue. Like, hey, if this happens, say sheer 3 times. Take it off or the flight mech, you race to that sheer part. It was just aimed for how dynamic that environment would be.
Our silicon carbide chips enable an electric car to travel 5 to 15% further. We've announced supply agreements with General Motors, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lucid, and with others. Raising capital as a relatively small company is not for the faint of heart. Wells Fargo is the calm in the middle of the storm. The internal combustion engine is going away. Some people call that the ice. And our company motto is we're helping end the ice age.
call it a litter. Anytime we're going to use a litter, we're going to use a trail line to help stabilize, because that flat plane surface that's underneath with all the rotor wash that's down below will really have a good propensity to have somebody start spinning really quick. I'm not sure what is causing the You've got the whole ship to look at as far as reference power really wasn't the issue. It almost looked like they were making the hoist cable feel like it was somehow taking power away from the engines. I don't know. Having a foul cable or watching the cable actually burn cage, that part is real, that can't happen. So it's good to go in there and not be, you can't let out the cable at that point. I don't understand why the project was struggling so bad. I'm not sure. And at this point, what got a hold of it's a good bait. It's clearly under there for whatever is eating on them. So there's no need to take the whole helicopter down. Sheer, but preserve the life of the rest of the crew. There's nothing else you can do. This is more of a dream. Please don't shoot the flares at the helicopter. We see the flare from a distance. Trust us, the flare gets on the raft will start eating through. It's like a phosphorus material stuff. You're shooting like hot phosphorus at the thing that's trying to rescue. You're trying to take us down with you at that point in time. The flare is meant to be seen, not to be caught. You just want to see the flare go up and then find the point of origin so you come to the rescue. A lot of times when we're going out, it's more like one helicopter. I'm not saying you can't have two if it's a long shore rescue. There's a fixed wing asset overhead that will probably go out to do really good radar inside the area and try to help us. And they'll also be able to drop and deliver any type of rescue material. Certain helicopters do have radar systems. We're trying to either see if we can pull the radar off or we're trying to tap the shoreline when we're out there being really good with the things. Helicopters have a few lights, so each pilot has their own searchlight, and then a lot of times they'll operate against what's called the night side. So it's just a really powerful searchlight for that we have. This right here is probably a 9.5.
Hi, I'm John Spencer. I'm the chair of Urban Warfare Studies at the Modern War Institute. I spent over 25 years in the U.S. Army. I've been studying urban warfare for over a decade. It's a very accurate behind a wall, you pop out for a second to throw a grenade like that. Where he's throwing the grenade is a little off. Grenades have a timer in them, basically, so they don't blow up in your hand. It's a target, it's not throw, explode. 100% air support is that vulnerable in urban operations, and why you usually don't bring it in. It's low flying, slow, doesn't have much protection. You easily drop soldiers offset of the urban battle. In this situation, they didn't expect that level of resistance. Crossing the street can actually be one of the most vulnerable things of urban warfare because there's so many angles, so many windows, so many doorways you can get shot. But we teach things like throwing smoke out so that people can't see you, going one at a time, mixing up this speed up which you're going. If I didn't know this battle, the battle of Mogadishu, I would say this is not realistic, where you have hundreds of people shooting at a small unit, but that's really what happened. And they got the soldiers pretty active, but there's been a lot of criticism about this movie. The depiction of the Somalis, kind of the context of what's going on in Mogadishu at this time. That's actually an iconic scene. It says stay off the walls. That was a real advice because once the bullets are hitting the walls, they travel down the wall kind of like a bowling alley. It can hit your standing on that. I would say happening all in every city is different. Mud, cement, glass, metal is a little different, but that's real. You see the bullet holes in the glass because back then weren't as prepared for urban warfare as we are today, so those aren't full vehicles. A lot of the weapons there aren't really ready for that environment they're moving into, but they also were surprised by what they encountered. So I give it like a 9 of realism in urban warfare, not realism in portrayal of the population and things that are going on. Chris Hemsworth is more like Jason Bourne there with his hand-to-hand, close quarters fighting, very common in urban warfare. We actually tie the weapons to ourselves, so if we're get caught in that situation, turn our corners and then grab our weapon again, take it away from us, not the tactics that you see seeing, because he's surrounded by people with bigger guns. So he's trying to disarm one while another one's there. And personally, I would have tried to disarm one of them with one of those rifles and put your back against something so you're not expecting a bad guy 360 degrees and you can pass them in some way. I can't say I found myself in a similar situation or teach that, but it could work. Absolutely. Slow the person down, buy yourself some time. I'd say you want to turn corners as much as possible, especially in a building like that, just to choose on which way you went. Out of everything I've seen, that's probably the most realistic. The fact that he's hiding behind a column. That column is a supporting column, so it has steel reinforced concrete. For some walls or paper thin, it could be plastic. If you don't have that, you can get behind things like furniture and other things, anything you can to try to get you cover. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch, but I give it about 1 to 2 real. I actually love this clip, and I wish I could show it to more soldiers to think about building differently, especially if you're defending a house. You want to take the stairways away, take the doors away, and absolutely throw furniture down. But the scene is really great too, because it shows you that that's not necessarily when you stay behind to protect bullets, because bullets pass through wood, cloth, and everything.
It's Grow time with Grow with SAP, your fast start to cloud ERP.
That's a great lesson that I'm teaching you, that we teach our soldiers to stay away from windows. You crouch down, you go underneath them, kind of slowly walk your way around them, bullets incoming. Probably wouldn't be that dramatic, but like that, absolutely tell you to stay away from windows. That clip is really important to what people want to think about, even in the military, called mouse holding. Putting holes in walls, floors, to move throughout without being seen is very common. Major urban battles. Actually, I'd love for someone to carry an axe or something like that, but there are other ways to do it. Sometimes we use explosives, sledgehammers, axes, like that to make that whole attack and do other things. We're all in a 9, actually. This seems very familiar because I had my own deployments to Iraq, into Baghdad, where we're doing raids like these, where there's only a few terrorists, population of millions. For the advantage of your equipment, you can see at night, but also reduce the risk of being observed and the risk to civilians. The fact that their night vision goggles are on top of their head is not realistic. You want to cut the power or eliminate the light sources, so you want to use those goggles to your advantage. It's very common and very smart to have a sniper with Overwatch who has angles that the people moving into the house can't see. It's a really good call for the sniper to be the one that shoots the first shot. If you want to save your surprise to the last moment, and the sniper should have a silenced weapon, this sniper in particular is probably wearing more equipment, and usually the sniper is a spotter, so there'll be other people with him. The way into this house is a very common, almost too common thing that's portrayed in movies. It's called internuclear room. Throwing a grenade can be the preferred tactic if it's known to be an enemy location. know there's somebody with a weapon, of course you're going to enter with something other than your face. And the way they're stacked on the door is about getting in there quickly. Actually evolved from SWAT tactics. These tactics were actually developed to limit that amount of violence because it made civilians intermixed in there. The tactics you see Bradley Cooper deploying there, it's what I would teams want to get behind something that's going to stop the bullets that people are shooting at you, but also be able to return fire, pull that cover. The windows are great to get down behind, get behind, still shooting from. Unlike the enemy in that scene running out into the open areas, that's actually the opposite of what actually happened. They would stay inside the roof, make you come in there, you get off the streets, you know. When he goes off by himself and chases you, that's not realistic. We don't move by ourselves. It's almost like a cardinal move. So there'd be another team person right there with them and communicate to each other using some type of radio or something. He says moving, somebody has to follow out there. I give it a rating of around an 8. After being Iraq ambush initiated by an RPG, ambushes are very common in Earth Warfare. It's meant to surprise if people are trapped in a funnel like that. Although the bad guys don't usually just stand on top of the roof. We would not be standing in the middle of the street shooting back. We wouldn't last long. We'd seek cover, use those armored vehicles, which is great. Ideally though, the whole situation, it's called a kill zone of the ambush. You want to get out of it. That concept of having we call it a quick reaction force, a backup team, because you've been surprised, somebody needs to come to help you. We usually keep force in their uniform, ready to go in an urban setting, just to be that quick reaction force to come to that aid. They ran the vehicle, which is very common, trying to lock into that kill zone so everybody can shoot at you. But I'm actually going to give it a higher rating than I want to because the ambush is so real outside the tactics. So I'll give it let's give it a 4. The drones are probably the most ubiquitous change to urban warfare that's happened in decades. As I go into Ukraine to research urban warfare right now, major battles, there's thousands of drones being used. It reduces some of the challenges of urban warfare. If I can put a drone in front of the soldier to see around that corner, to see over that roof. The aspect of X-ray vision, we're not there yet. We still can't see through concrete, especially not much can see through steel. We get a lot of feelings of real stuff that's happened, especially the use of a dump truck. Reminds me of the Beirut bombing where a dump truck was brought to the front of the base, like in that scenario, but then exploded. This is why urban warfare is so hard. The dump truck can be a threat. Although that's highly unlikely that you're going to use your vibranium shield to throw it up in the air, but what is significant to me is that what we call a 3-block war, where when you're fighting in urban terrain, you are actually very concerned about the civilian population and protecting people at the same time as you're fighting, and there's restrictions on what you can or can't do. So, that's a very powerful scenario that any soldier who has values is trying to protect the civilian population while still trying to do the mission. So the rating has to be for realism. I'll give it around a 6. A couple of little things in there that are nice touches of adding realism to the situation, like the red dot that you see on your scopes on modern weapons that will kind of help you aim to the green hue that you see on their eyeballs that come out the night vision goggles. So when you see some version of night vision goggles, Martian type of look, when you look around, everybody's got green eyes.
What's on this building? No! Block my buildings! We got no vantage point! This roof's in the bus.
In this scene, they enter a really strong building like that. It's a great idea. The strategy is called strong points, where a building that is really strong, it has lines of sight or directions you can fire from multiple directions. And war has happened where you see a building held for months just because of the was the right strong point. He says it's a bust because depending on what type, the direction of the building, where the enemy is, they got up there and thought they have a good vantage point, but they couldn't see anything, so it was a bust.
With an award-winning loyalty program, there's 6,000 IHG hotels and resorts worldwide. Dig on your right.
What we usually see in their movies is everybody trying to get to the book because it kind of has common sense. I can shoot down, I can see people farther out, but depending on the context, you don't want to be anywhere near them because you can also be seen from the air, drones, from mortars, hits. It's based on a real situation that happened in 2012 in Benghazi. We were attacking the embassy compound. That's a good idea to get up there so you can see where they're coming from and to take better shots and not waste ammo from the rooftop for sure. I give that a pretty high rating for realism, about a 7, 8, just based on the type of weapons, the tactics, the chaos, the building construction. It's pretty real. I think this is an important scene because one of the things this TV and movie show about urban warfare is that it's just infantry or soldiers shooting their weapons. Major battles with tanks, artillery, engineers, infantry, they're full-scale battles. Now the damage that the tank does to the building, that is unlikely. That just the whole face of the building is going to fall off. It's going to do a lot of damage. That's why you have a tank. And the tank is mobile, protected firepower. It has that giant gun that can punch through that problem, which is concrete covered. But this scene that they're all trenches. It's almost like a Star Wars ray gun. They won't all be like that. There's actually a myth that tanks are not over the too vulnerable, but actually in the share warfare, if you go into a major urban fight, you don't have a tank, you're wrong. But the problem is that the tank can't go by itself and the infantry can't go by itself. And as we see in the scene, the infantry work to protect the tank, and then the tank protects the infantry. But the tanks are vulnerable, as we see here, the Germans shoot from below where the tank can shoot in the basement.
Oh, Jesus! Come here!
The size needed to take a town or a village or a city all depends on what it is that they're facing. And I think they really didn't know for that street. I think that looked about right, absolutely. Where you combine a tank section over 2 tanks with an infantry platoon or something to clear a street like that before you discover where the enemy is. Outside of the lasers of the rounds, this is a very realistic scene of high intensity combat and the combined arms that you need. So I give it a 9. Oh, really pause. The one thing that I can't help myself on this scene is that everyone walks up to the wall and just sticks their rifle at the top of the wall. That's absolutely what you don't do. You just put the flag up the same way you are. I don't have any problem with them moving to the rooftops. This is a hasty attack. 2 different movements, that's great. You can converging fires, so firing down 2 different directions. They can cover more of the courtyard. The scene in this movie is based on the real battle of the Seoul that happened in 2017. One of the biggest battles really since World War II. 100,000 security forces against an entrenched ISIS force that had to be cleared out. That's actually pretty realistic. You open an attack like that with your biggest weapon, your most casually producing weapons. Duds do happen. The way you usually get around that is you have more than a single point of failure, more than one big weapon. Or, like they do here, which is actually accurate, once that does, that's it. Your surprise is gone. Attack. It's actually pretty complex what they're trying to do because they have moving forces with other elements shooting down that they have to know and watch very closely on when to turn their fire off as you advance. That's in some ways the way I would teach them as well. As if they're maneuvering in while another person's holding them down. traps are very popular or very pictures on the wall, everything could be potentially a booby trap. We see it right now in the Ukraine war when Ukraine takes back their territories from the Russians. But you have to be hyper aware of all those booby traps for sure. One is it's awareness of every soldier not to move and displace things. Then we have bomb stealing dogs that we'll bring in. I'm going to actually give it around a 5, 6. Some of it's a little. The underground is a huge component of the three-dimensional aspects of urban warfare. Many cities have cities under the cities, and in battles like this, which this movie is based on the Battle of Stalingrad, which is called the Rat War, because there was such a prevalent underground. Yes, those are possible urban sniper positions. The characters on both sides are loosely tied to real snipers that were prevalent in the Battle of Stalingrad, who were known to put themselves in the barrels, the ventilation shafts, the cat and the mouse between the two snipers. That didn't happen. We can train children to use the environment. There is some aspect of manipulating light, smoke. That's a real thing, right? Reflected lights in the mirror, but you don't know where the sniper is. Unlikely that you're going to have that ability to blind that. So no, don't do that. I want to give it a higher one because it is point out the underground warfare aspect of it, the realism of the actual this happening around a 3, I guess. That's pretty about as good as it gets. The IED or the improvised explosive device is the weapon of the last 20 plus years, the invisible enemy that you couldn't fight back against. The M250 cal is still used today. It's a very effective, large machine gun that has the size and bullet penetration of concrete that you want, where other weapons might not. The accuracy of what the bullets were doing to the bullet looked pretty accurate. Some of them you can tell aren't penetrating. Didn't shoot that many bullets at that wall to create that level of sprawling honeycomb of that wall. The tactics there are pretty sound. We have the machine gun covering an upper level wall, the infantry are maneuvering lower, so there's control there and positioning themselves to enter that building where they know the enemy is. I can say that kicking of the door is not real. It's called a real kick. I wish the movies would stop showing it because it's not effective. But I have found many soldiers trying it, but it's not the most force you can put by kicking that door. You want to face the door. That's an unfortunate but very realistic aspect of that scenario. That chaos and the soldier gets into the room, but control is not just firing at everybody. But then you have a scared, frantic civilians even approaching you, making the soldier feel very unsafe. That's a very realistic and impactful, traumatic situation that is urban warfare. If you were to take out the real kit, I would give that scene a 10.
Gareth Timmins here. I'm a former Longrange Commando. I spent time in Afghanistan, Egypt, Somalia, and just various places around the Middle East. CS gas, which is widely used in the Middle East, especially around the Arab Spring. Whether you can fire it out in mortars is another thing. Firing the CS gas and having it airburst like that would just be like chucking a little cap of bleach into the sea in terms of its effectiveness on trying to poison swimmers. I mean, if you were breaking contact like that, you would have absolutely just, I would have thought, just run in a straight line as fast as possible to get out there. But they seem to veer into it just against the film for the viewers really. The fact that it's perfectly placed on the top is quite comical really. A minefield would normally be set out in a certain way to either restrict movement or to channel the enemy into a particular point. In terms of the spacing and the mixture of mines that's just been placed there just for the vehicle just to hit it, the anti-personnel mines are actually now banned by the Geneva Convention. What used to happen with those was you'd trigger one of the mines about the ground at about waist level and would detonate. Yeah, you can normally see them they've done a sandstorm, but people still got bullet running. If you were breaking contact and trying to get away from the enemy in an open desert like that with no kind of life support, but no urban environment, no buildings, you would absolutely have to stay in control. Unless it was completely disabled, at that point you had no other option but to leave it because it was acting as a magnet for the enemy. You certainly fail from it if it was moving. Explosive devices that were used in like Iraq and Afghanistan duplicate vehicles, but whether a mine would be able to flip it to that extent is debatable. There are certainly people that are inside it would be severely injured and killed. If you get three, yeah, there is a death in the military vehicles, there's military kit getting used, but apart from that, it's very loosely based on reality. We're really close up now. Before we get to the border, when we're driving urban areas or building areas, that kind of convoy posture would have been perfect if you want to maintain the posture and the security and not have vehicles come in. But as soon as we've kind of left that and we're going now into the open desert and open ground, we would want to really extend the spacing. The Humvee is an awful vehicle. It's not comfortable during this now. You would close up because you've got limited visibility. It's exaggerated there. Yeah, it is a thing. It would restrict your view absolutely. I think it's realistic. You would have contact light, which is what we're doing. Again, it's good. There's like natural generalised chat there about the weather and whatnot that would happen in real life. There'd be some jokes, there's some banter, but you would be very much focused on the job at hand. So the communication there in terms of communicating to the whole group is good. It could be a bit better, but it's good. You would absolutely at all costs want to drive through that. We call it driving through it. We call it the killing zone. To stopping that or be disabling that would be like the worst nightmare. The sound and the impact around the vehicle and windscreen, I think would naturally, despite your training, just make you do that. I think once a few rounds of it and it massages your anxiety or nothing's going to come through, you would like to be able to get back on track and push through that. It's chaos. It's what's called a complex attack. The first guy has got out to the left, which is what you would do at the guy you would get out on the left hand side of the vehicle and use it as cover then to try and get some rounds off if you have to. You're always told and trained to get out of the side naturally because not taking fire, so you get out to cover and you can see how they're kind of getting the weapons into the shoulder and how they're manipulating the doors and pushing the door and coming back onto the stock of the weapon and stuff. It's really like high level stuff and weapon manipulation and use and cover. It's absolutely superb. There as a soldier because you don't know what's going on and what's going on and it would be claustrophobic. I can see why she's done it, not military trained, but it's not what I want to do. You've got to try and get away from that killing zone somehow as soon as possible. Keep it nine. The only kind of thing that lets it down really is the spacing when they're going to open ground in terms of the vehicles, but apart from that, how they react, the weapon manipulation, the communications is really good. He's running around after with the top off or a vest on. The sunburn and heat that we would get from that would kill him. He'd have like some kind of camouflage shirt on, or like a tactical jacket, like a wind jacket, and you'd almost certainly have body armor on. Depending on the sun, sometimes it's soft and it would be incredibly difficult to move. I mean, granted, he's got no kit on. No body armor, but it would be incredibly difficult to run from side to side to evade possible enemy fire, especially if that's coming from behind you. You'd be running to positions of cover rather than in a straight line. It's there to look like a hand. It's actually a pin that's been modified. They've been knocked up to the right also in country share. They were introduced, I think, by the Russians in 1972. definitely could have been in the actual Afghan and Russian war in 79 to 89. The biggest thing really is, I think about there's a lot of influences. I think the hero journey that one takes, so it's, if you look at, say, like Rambo or anything like that, it's kind of a one-man band, one person getting injected into a theatre, into a war zone, and in reality it's just, it's wholly not possible. That weapon system, 50 cal Dushka, it would take you down. It absolutely would. And I'm just slightly unconvinced that there would be enough rounds for it, for that amount of time. Sometimes you can get 1 or 2 rounds on, then you have to start doing your stop and drills. One person would be better too, but one person could. It's a difficult one because everything that happens is in the realms of possibility. It really is. I would probably give it 5. I think the percentage of success that he would get from doing what he does would be very, very small.
Oh, I didn't see if they're friendly from here.
Lima Kuchan.
The radio operator has tried to establish comms by the sample. It's not been successful. But he's not give the responder an opportunity to respond. We've used it before in Somalia and other places. It's just a case of sometimes moving to an elevated position or a different location to establish communication. They are unreliable. We would have automatically hit the floor, gone to ground, and just started observing from what we call developmental, from a prone position. The mirage effect, obviously, it's a thing, it's there, but it wouldn't distort images like that, and you'd still be able to make people out. Their movement towards you is very relaxed. They're not running, they're not shouting. You'd be looking for weapons and weapon systems as they start to get closer.
Form a line!
They do get into extended line, which is good tactically in this scenario, but the posture that they get into, the hostile posture, getting weapons and getting the to go to the shoulder, is an escalation that you would want to try and avoid. So they're all M16, some of them have got under some grenade launcher attachments. It's an old American machine weapon with the real weapons with probably just magazines in with no ammunition.
Swap! Guys, cover him!
Weapon should be down for sure. Should have like one of just put his hand up and just proposing a more peaceful kind of approach. Maybe saying that's a local language in terms of a welcome would have been the right course of action to take. He walked straight into the arc, the line of fire of all the lads.